Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. This is just another podcast with Mick. And today we're going to be talking about something I find, at least I do, very interesting. And based off the title, this is the end to the weirdest year of my life. So far. But before we get started, you guys know we have a few drinks on the podcast. I already have a little bit of wine poured out. I actually came from an 11-hour shift today, so I am beat. So yeah, very excited to just chill and unwind. So cheers. Whew. Okay, so before we get started, again, sorry, one more thing. A little bit of a channel announcement. We actually hit 5K subs a few weeks ago. So yeah, I am over the moon over that. Thank you so much. If you've watched any of my videos, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. If you've subscribed, if you've been here since the beginning, I apologize for making such crappy videos. If you're new here, welcome. We're just having a good time. We make tech videos, lifestyle videos, gear videos, mostly Fujifilm videos, and we have this podcast. So yeah, welcome. Feeling very, very good. I mean, like the channel actually has been doing really well for the past few weeks. So yeah, feeling very hopeful. So I just wanted to take the time and just thank everybody who has supported me. So yeah, thank you. All right, on to the main topic, the end of the weirdest year of my life so far. So it's the end technically because I put in my resignation. Yeah. I'm resigning. I gave my notice a few weeks ago, and that's because like life in the Philippines is kind of opening up a little bit. We are going to be doing face-to-face classes, or at least hybrid face-to-face classes very soon. So I'm going to be flying back to the Philippines before making a few pit stops. But yeah, it has been really, really weird. Like this past year has been exhausting because I worked a full-time job, which was like 36 to 40 hours. I was still taking my online classes. So I would be taking classes from like 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. depending on my schedule. And I had exams, I had quizzes at like 4 a.m., 6 a.m., 2 a.m. It was like all over the place. And I was also running this YouTube channel and I was uploading. Although my upload schedule wasn't so consistent, I was still able to upload at least like 30 videos since coming here to the US last year. So yeah, it's been a very hectic year. And you know what, honestly, if you ask me, this is the year that I consider like I took a year off from school, from dentistry. Although I still did take all of my online classes, I didn't really stop. But yeah, I did a lot of just my academics, just my subjects, not much of my clinical work. So yeah, I've actually finished all of my subjects, which is kind of a milestone. And yes, I know that I'm still very far behind compared to other people in my year, but baby steps. I mean, like little steps. But yeah, we're going to get to that. I'm going to dive into that a little more later on. But yeah, this year has been crazy. And the most substantial thing that's happened really was really the job, like really working full time. I never really expected, I never really thought that I would be working full time as a manager ever. Like if you told me at the start of the pandemic or even in the middle of the pandemic or maybe even like 4 years ago that in 2022 I would be running a store, I would not believe you. And it's not because like I don't want to work this kind of job. It's not that. Like definitely I have full respect, like even more so now. Like I respect people who work in the restaurant business and customer service even more. Like, oh my gosh, my respect for you has like tripled 100%. But it's just that in the Philippines, it's kind of sad because we don't really have the opportunity to work part-time jobs. You know what I mean? It's just it's just you study and then you work whatever your profession is, whatever your career path is, more or less. It's just that if you studied advertising, you're more likely to just work in advertising. If you're a dentist, you're going to be working as a dentist if you study dentistry, right? So that's kind of the thing that I wish more people in the Philippines could experience, because there's just so many benefits to working as a student. Like, you get a better grasp of the value of money, you become more responsible. You know, it's just sad that we can't experience this kind of thing back home, but yeah. So working a job like this has been a truly humbling experience, honestly, because again, I never really thought that I would work this kind of job. And it's a very tough job. Like, obviously, it's not like working in the hospital or as a dentist, but it has its own challenges. And my goodness, it's like, it's like people don't respect, a lot of people rather, don't respect this kind of work. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about what I loved about working this kind of job and being a manager, and the things that I didn't necessarily like about it. But yeah, first I want to talk about like just my life in the past year, right? It's been very, very hectic. Because again, I've been working like full time for more than a year. Like, I think I started out as a part-time worker, and the hours given to me initially were like 10 to 14 hours every week. So technically those were just 3 shifts. Every Monday I would open at 11:30 up to 6, and then I would close every Wednesday from 6 to 9:30, and then Friday 6 to 10. But that obviously changed because summer here is very different. I mean, because like it's cold 80% of the year, right? So people really, really want to go out when it's warm. So a lot of people were calling out of their shifts. So I picked up everybody's shifts. Like, I was that person to go to. Like, somebody called out, "Can you come in?" And I'll be like, heck yeah. Heck yeah, I'll come in for money. But yeah, so I started working like 4 weeks into my job, 30-hour weeks. And then eventually, I don't really want to get into that. If you guys want to know about like the more stressful part of my transition from being a part-time worker to manager, then just watch my podcast episode up here. But yeah, eventually a lot of people left because of like just school and the work situation. But yeah, eventually only a few of us were left in the store, and I was offered the position of manager. And obviously it seemed like a missed opportunity if I didn't take it. So yeah, working 36 to 40 hours every week, because of course we have to be on top of everything, especially now that it's summer and it's like super busy. It's super hectic all the time because everybody wants a nice cold treat on a hot summer day. So yeah, I have to be at the store at least 5 days a week. So yeah, there's really not much to do anything else. And honestly, like looking back, because I'm on summer vacation right now, so I'm a lot more chill. I can sleep. I can actually have a proper sleep schedule. But yeah, looking back and just like imagining my life, like I would work 11:30 a.m. until like 10 to 10:30, depending on how fast we can close, depending on how dirty the store is, right? And then I would have classes from like 11 to 2, 11 to 6. It depends on like whatever my schedule for that block was. So yeah, and then any kind of off day I would have, I would pretty much just focus on making videos. So I felt like I never really had any off days. So yeah, it was a very, very hectic schedule. I don't really know how I pulled it off, honestly. I was a zombie, basically, just trying to accomplish as much as I could. That's why, like, when I say, like, I felt like I took a year off school, but like also not really. It was a very, very hectic year. Yeah. So, being manager was a very interesting experience because obviously, like, the whole store was kind of under my responsibility. I had like full control over the store, whether it was the toppings. I had to manage the shipment. I had to clean the store. I had to make sure everybody was working on time. Everybody was doing their job. I had to be on top of everybody. I had to make the schedule. You know what I mean? It was a lot of work. And what I loved about this job was, one, I got to fix my own schedule because I made the schedule. So anytime like my mom had an off day and she wanted to travel, I could definitely make that happen. I really enjoy talking with my coworkers. I mean, it was a really, really fun time for me. Hopefully they felt the same way, just chatting with me, like getting to know them and talking about like similar interests, like TV shows, anime, video games, life in America, because there are also lots of foreigners that immigrated to the US that worked in Sweet Frog. So yeah, it was really interesting, like sharing stories, like whether it was also from the Philippines and then moving to the US, whether it was other countries like Spain and Guyana, stuff like that. Like I got to meet a lot of people and I got to talk about like our culture and their culture. It was a very interesting experience and I really, really enjoyed it. So I really enjoyed hanging out with my coworkers. I actually even enjoyed talking to most people. There are people that I would call regulars, and I would enjoy talking to them every now and then when they came to the store. I don't know. It was a really good experience. But one of the best things that I got from working this job was having a little more confidence in myself. And that's because like at the start of the pandemic, I was already a delayed student because like after having moved here, I had to stop for a sem and just life, sometimes you get delayed, you don't necessarily meet the goals you want to meet in the timeline that you made for yourself, right? So I was already in a pretty bad place when the pandemic happened, and the pandemic just kind of escalated the situation because a lot of things were out of our control. So I kind of lost sight of my goal. I lost sight of myself. I was in a very, very dark place. But yeah, having worked this job, a lot of things were put into perspective. I definitely won't take anything bad away from this job. If anything, like it gave me the confidence in myself that like, oh my God, I can actually accomplish something. I'm actually capable of something. You know what I mean? Because like when you get beaten down so much, you kind of lose sight of yourself, and just being able to do something else, putting yourself out of a situation that you were absolutely miserable in, but it's still something you want to pursue, right? So yeah, having this experience and this perspective, it was a truly humbling experience. And I'm glad that it happened because it's given me the drive to continue doing what I am currently pursuing, right? So I've honestly come to hate studying dentistry, but after everything that I've done in the past year, I am very excited to jump back into the pool. Excited and anxious, right? To get back to where I was a year ago. And honestly, it was only because I worked this job. So yeah, it really just put everything into perspective. Yeah, just having a year of work and all that. Like I have so much respect for people who work in the restaurant business and just customer service in general. Like people I just feel like people don't respect these people enough. And having actually worked the job and managed people and managed a store, there's just so much work into it. There's so much patience. There's so much going on. And it's like some people don't even respect you, and it's ridiculous. But yeah, I am so thankful and grateful for the job and the experiences that I've had in the past year. So yeah, that's like my biggest takeaway from this job. It has given me back the drive that I used to have for the course I'm taking. But yeah. But not everything is sunshine and rainbows, you know what I mean? I mean, there are lots of aspects to the job that are also very, very exhausting mentally and emotionally. I remember like the first time I was still working part-time, the manager told me like, "Hey, do you know how to clean a bathroom?" And I was just like, "Yes, I know how to clean a bathroom." He was like, "Okay, can you please go on and clean the men's bathroom?" And oh my goodness, like the skid marks, it was very disturbing. It was very disturbing stuff. So yeah, I will definitely not miss cleaning public bathrooms. Man, like the other week, like I took a 4-day weekend and I came back to the store and somebody took like the most diarrhea. I'm sorry if I'm getting too graphic, but yeah. Somebody took the most diarrhea like dump and just left it there. You know what I mean? Like, damn. Wow. Like, yeah, he flushed, but you're not going to clean after yourself. So, whew, definitely not going to miss that. I've kind of become desensitized to it. There's just a lot of work with bleach. But yeah, like right now when I clean my bathroom, I used to be like a little bit grossed out when I clean my own bathroom. I'd be like, but now I can like take a deep dive into the toilet bowl. You know what I mean? Like I'm so comfortable, so desensitized to it. But yeah. Another thing is customer complaints. Oh my God. This is a manager exclusive, 100%, because this isn't something part-timers deal with. But I get a lot of customer complaints. And don't get me wrong, I understand where you're coming from. Most of the time, like we do get complaints that the store is dirty from time to time. But also, it's because there's only one person in the store more often than not. Especially in the morning, our morning shifts are like 11:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. And in those 6.5 hours, there's only one person in the store. We usually have 2 closers now, especially now that it's summer. But yeah, sometimes a lot of people are gonna come in, like hordes of people are gonna come in, and it's like they're gonna make a mess because it is self-serve. They're gonna sit down, they're gonna eat, leave a mess on the table, and we're only one person. We're cashing people out, we're refilling the toppings bar, we're refilling the machines, we're trying to keep everything nice and tidy. So I understand that sometimes we can't because we're just one person in the store, and people are gonna find that we're not doing the job well enough. I understand that completely, but there are some customer complaints where it's like absolutely ridiculous. Like, oh my God, I can't believe you took the time to go to the website of the company that I work for and actually write a formal complaint. Like one of the most ridiculous ones was this woman complaining, saying, "Oh, I was there an hour ago and I drove 30 minutes to get there. And I wanted to get no sugar added vanilla, but I ended up getting pineapple. So these 2 flavors were in the same machine, but we have 3 levers. So the one on the leftmost side, let's say, is no sugar added vanilla. The one on the rightmost lever is pineapple. The one in the middle is a swirl of both flavors, right?" And apparently she like misread the labels because she accidentally got pineapple instead of no sugar added vanilla, and she wrote a formal complaint about it. And then my manager called me like same day, like, "Hey Bianca, like I saw like you got a complaint that your yogurts are mislabeled, right?" And I'm just like, I don't think so, but let me go check it out. So I taste the yogurt myself, and it's fine, it's normal. So they just misread it. And what do they get in return for making a complaint? they get free yogurt. They get like 2 cups of free yogurt, which I find ridiculous because it was your fault. But that's just like the tip of the iceberg for complaints. There are definitely much worse ones that are just ridiculous. But yeah, it is what it is at the end of the day. You just have to smile and wave. Just smile and wave, boys. Just like, I'm so thankful that I have a mask, because the faces I would have made when people have made like these most random complaints, when like, especially when we don't have one particular item. Like, for example, hot fudge, hot caramel. We have specific machines for these. And obviously we can't just go to a random grocery store and buy like hot fudge for the specific machine. It doesn't work that way. We have to order them through our wholesale reseller. And sometimes there was a period where like we didn't have hot fudge for like 3 months, and it was out of our control completely. Like, I want you to have hot fudge, okay? I want you to be happy. But we can't order it because it's not there. It's non-existent at the moment. And people would legit throw fits. Like, they would fill an entire cup of yogurt, stuff it with toppings, and just the fact that we didn't have either caramel, hot caramel, or hot fudge, they would be like, I don't want this anymore. Can you take it? And I would be like, this is like $7 worth of yogurt. But okay. Have a great day. You know what I mean? So there's that. Another thing that I won't necessarily miss is people not wanting to tip us, which I get it. Like, you don't have to tip us, okay? Like, but I don't like it when people have to emphasize when they don't want to tip us. And I get it. You know what I mean? Because it is a self-serve yogurt store, but I don't think people understand the workload that we have as well. Because it's a self-serve yogurt store, but at the end of the day, a lot of people are messy, and we have to clean up so much compared to people who just have to do it themselves. And yeah, and I get so many of these like complaints, like, why do I have to tip? Why do I have to tip? And I actually hear these like in just our day-to-day conversation. It's not even just with customers, but like people I actually engage with. It's kind of off to me, because like, personally, you haven't really worked in a customer service job, or like, again, it's usually just one person in the store. Like, this morning I came into the store and there was something wrong with the machines, and it's kind of like these 2 machines just wet themselves. They had a little accident. I'll pull up a picture of what that looked like. But basically, I had to manually scoop up with my hands. I was wearing gloves though. The yogurt that was spilt on the floor, because I didn't want to dirty the mop. Because obviously when you do that with the mop, if I'm going to pick it up with the mop, there's a chance that it's going to get sticky. And I don't want sticky floors, because I've had complaints about sticky floors. People think like the store was absolutely disgusting because we had sticky floors. But yeah, we do a lot of work. Just think about it. Like, everything in the store we do. Like, whether it's refilling the toppings bar, whether it's refilling the machines in the back, whether it's cashing people out, cleaning the tables, mopping whenever there's a mess, dealing with the public bathroom that everybody loves to make a mess, but like, there's only one person dealing with all of that. And I appreciate every tip that I get, but it kind of saddens and infuriates me when people think that it's not okay. Like, oh my God, why would I tip you? Why the hell would I tip you? You know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things that I find, like, having gone through it, I would definitely tip nowadays. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's more or less the gist of it. The past few weeks have been kind of emotional for me, because I always say that I look forward to the day where this is just kind of a memory for me. But when it was actually happening, like working the last shifts, with the people that I really enjoyed working with. I got a little emotional. I felt like I was gonna tear up a little bit. Even doing something as tedious as inventory, I was like weighing it, jotting it down, and be like, like, man, like this job has done so much for me. Other than pay me, of course. Like, I would not do this without pay. But yeah, it's helped me out a lot in more ways than I could say, which is really weird to say from from managing a yogurt shop, right? But yeah, it's done a lot for me, and I really appreciate it. It's been a very humbling experience, and I've learned a lot about myself. And again, it's just given me a lot of confidence, like knowing that I'm actually capable of doing a job and not sucking at it. But yeah, it's the end. It's the end to this chapter in my life, and I'm so thankful that I went through it, because again, most people in the Philippines don't even experience part-time jobs. You know what I mean? It's just you go to school, you study, you graduate, you work, whatever your profession has lined up for you. So yeah, I'm glad to have experienced it. It's been a very, very stressful year. Having balanced working full time, being a full time student, also a YouTuber. It's been surreal, and it's coming to an end. So yeah, looking forward to focusing on my studies. Hopefully, I can graduate as soon as next year, and looking forward to the channel. So yeah, that is pretty much that for this episode. I don't know why I'm getting emotional. I like getting emotional right now. But yeah, that is pretty much that for this episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Cheers.